It's my pleasure to invite the panel here today. We have Justice Dr. Aimé Muyoboke Karimunda, who is the Rector of the Institute of Legal Practice and Development. Welcome, sir. We have the President of the Rwanda Bar Association, Moise Nkundabarashi. Welcome, sir. We have Nelson Karungi, an e-justice expert from Synergy International Systems Rwanda. Very welcome. And Mr. Aaron Shanmugathanathan, the co-founder of Hens Technologies. Thank you. I think my first question to you will be, how do we pronounce your name? Thank you all for being here. I think it's a good panel on legal design and legal tech automation, because we have two people from the legal side and two people from the tech side. So I'm going to give you all a minute to just introduce yourselves, short introduction, your name, your organization, the purpose and mission of your organization. And I'll start with you, sir, and all the way to the end. No, I'm Daniel Gasatura. Yes.
Good morning to everyone, and thank you, dear Daniel. Before introducing myself, I'm really very pleased to be on this panel, and very humbled. Really, it is I always like to be surrounded by young people because it is the only way you can learn about new things. So my name is Aimé Muyoboke Karimunda. I am currently the rector for the Institute for Legal Practice and Development. It is an institute which was established in 2006, but it started operating in 2008, in charge of transforming law graduates into lawyers. So in actually that's it. So it is running currently two programs, permanent programs: the diploma in legal practice and a diploma in legal and contract drafting. We've recently launched a new program on child justice, and for now we have graduated nearly 3,166 graduates in the DLP. Most of them now are judges, prosecutors, advocates, and house counsels, and so on. So I used to be in the judiciary until the end of last year. I was in Supreme Court, in the Court of Appeal. And before that, I was in academia. I think, in short, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. For those from out of Rwanda, ILPD is the bar school. Yeah. Go ahead, Moise.
All right, thank you very much. My name is Moise Nkundabarashi. I am the president of Rwanda Bar Association and a partner at Trust Law Chambers. I also happen to be having some connections with Celta Foundation because I'm on their board, and they've entrusted me to be their chair for now. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Nelson Karungi. I am an e-justice expert with Synergy International Systems. I'm a teacher by calling, I believe, and a tech person by profession. I have over 10 years experience in digitizing justice systems, and Synergy International Systems is a software developing company and tech consultant company, and we are driven by impact and data, and we empower organizations and governments to achieve that. We have worked with over 80 countries worldwide, and we have implemented around 300 plus projects in social protection, in education, in water and sanitation, and most importantly in justice. So our vision and our mission is to empower impact-driven organizations and to empower NGOs and governments to create decisions, to make decisions based on data. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Arun Shanmuganathan, that's how you pronounce it. I'm the co-founder of a company based here in Rwanda called Hints Technologies. My background is in mathematics and machine learning. I studied in the UK, Cambridge and Oxford, but I moved to Rwanda about 5 years ago, and we've set up a company, Hints. What we do is we help some of the largest organizations in the world build software for managing and engaging with lawyers, including systems like outside counsel management, matter management, legal front door, and so on. Our entire tech team is based here in Rwanda, and we're excited about building the future of legal technology from here in Rwanda for the world. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please allow me to stick to Arun. But yeah, due to time, I'll jump straight into the questions. And for you, at least the two of you, wear a lot of hats. You just talked about judiciary, you talked about academia. But in your current role at ILPD, in training the next generation of Rwandan lawyers, what would you say, in terms of the discussion we're having today, how are you and your team preparing the young lawyers for the future and the opportunities, and what are the opportunities and challenges for legal educators today?
Well, thank you, Daniel. I think that is a crucial question, a very important question, which I think goes even beyond the ILPD. It is a question that concerns the legal training as a whole, not only in Rwanda, but even beyond Rwanda. By principle, by default, lawyers are labeled as conservatists. They don't move that fast. We adopt laws, and we use them for decades and decades. And we believe these laws have created rights that don't need to be shaken. So the move of embracing the new trends in legal area, it is very slow. It is generally very slow. And this applies also to LPD. LPD is receiving graduates from all law schools in Rwanda, and most of them, they have the basic skills in IT. And so far as I'm informed, we don't have a program, a curriculum in the law schools by now that links law to technology. And we haven't yet started a continuous legal education, a permanent continuous legal education that links law to technology. So I think that is the status of affairs by now. It is true, Rwanda is most probably one of the most advanced countries in Africa in using e-justice. And that's how e-justice integrated the legal area. It comes, in fact, not from the law schools, but from the practice. And the issue now is that, and I think this applies to many sectors in Africa, and building on what the previous panel was mentioning, I don't think that we have until now been so proactive in embracing technology. So we have been following the development of our technology and trying to update ourselves to the existing technologies. And most of the time, technologies are developed by software engineers, scientists, and now there are people who join law schools because, in fact, you don't want to join science schools. And when you start using the concept of algorithm and they don't know coding and whatever, it becomes something alien to the legal realm. And it creates a kind of, I don't know how to put it, maybe reluctance from the legal fraternity to embrace this new trend. So there is a need, there is an appealing need to create a new mindset, starting with the law schools, and maybe a partnership between the law schools and science schools, on creating a permanent academic program on the relationship between the law and the technology. That's one. And for that, I don't think LPD has a mandate to do that, but it can support. LPD can support in that. But what LPD can do, and what is trying to do now, is to introduce programs on emerging legal issues, and including also technology. And we are thinking now, even expanding our department of OIT, so that we can anticipate the needs of e-justice in justice sector. Ms. Nyson Karungi will be elaborate better than myself, because she worked very hard in these last 10 years on the integrated electronic case management system, which I think it is most probably the single system we have that was developed by lawyers in conjunction with IT experts. The concept came from the judiciary and probably the justice sector, and then now they included IT people to transform the legal concept using a code of a civil procedure, code of a criminal procedure, and the other laws, and transforming them into a usable technology tool. And that is the uniqueness, in my understanding, that is the uniqueness of the integrated case management system we have in Rwanda, because it wasn't developed outside the system, it was developed within the system, and being used now by legal practitioners. So now ISMS is being used and probably upgraded, but ISMS is not the final destination for the legal technology. And when I look around, maybe the president of the Bar Association will, I hope he'll agree with me, I'm not seeing alternatives. I'm not seeing alternatives to the ISMS. So ISMS has eased access to justice. ISMS has reduced corruption, tremendously reduced the corruption. ISMS has increased the level of accountability. But it is important we think about new tools, or even upgrading this ISMS so that we create maybe the court of the future, where we don't need a courtroom that will be like this one, where an attorney can sit in his office and the judge and they can, without spending money and the time. We need to introduce new tools such as, how is it called, holographs. Yeah? So not necessarily bringing witnesses to the courtrooms. So we need to upgrade the laws and the link. So, and this requires a kind of an incubation center, a legal and technology incubation center that can initiate this product and that can sell this product to the justice sector. So by now, we don't have this incubation center. The incubation centers we have are driven by IT people who, with the whole humility, I believe they don't understand the whole legal concept. So the product they might develop out there might not necessarily fit the needs of the justice sector institutions. So that's where LPD is trying to treaty. We are not yet there, but we are in discussions with the Department of, there's someone called CDO, I think the Ministry of Justice, to see how we can maybe anticipate all these needs in the justice sector. So the challenges are many. One of the biggest challenges we have in the legal fraternity is technology literacy. I think that is one of the biggest challenge. But also we might have the issue for IT infrastructure. When you look at the president of the bar, I think he will confirm that we have nearly 1,006 and more lawyers. And embracing technology would mean that any law firm should have at least a minimum a website, right? But I think the technology we are using so far, and very mostly might be the mobile telephone communication and the mobile telephone transactions, than these new tools on our website and the apps and the things like that. So that how can generally give the landscape of what we have. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Doctor. I think you've made it very clear, and I think I saw the IT guys in the room writing down all those ideas. So when they come to your office tomorrow, that's on you. But let me jump straight to Nathan, because I think he mentioned you. Can you highlight, maybe for those who may not know, the highlights of the systems that your team implements? And maybe since this is the African Legal Network, African Law and Tech Network, and not just Rwanda, is there anything else you're doing? You did mention countries. You did say it's not just Rwanda. So what are you doing outside Rwanda as well? Jumping on to what you talked about, the system in Rwanda and what you're doing elsewhere. Briefly, yeah.
Thank you. I love to jump onto what he said, because he just mentioned some of the impact things that we do with technology. And we implement a number of systems, especially in the justice sector. One of the systems we implement is the law firm management system, which allows law firms to operate and do their processes online. The second system we have implemented is the judicial performance management system. This is being used in Rwandan courts, and we're implementing it so far now for the prosecution as well. And what it does is it tracks real-time the performance of the judiciary, and also together with the strategic plan. So to know if the strategies that are planned are actually delivering the impact or the performance that is intended in real time, so that the judiciary or the justice sector can adjust in time. And this is the importance of data-driven decisions. The most prestigious system for us, though, is the case management system, for which in Rwanda we have the integrated electronic case management system. And what that means is that it integrates all the justice sector institutions, from investigation, prosecution, courts, correction services, judgment execution, online auctioning, you name it, both in civil and criminal cases. But we have not only implemented it in Rwanda, as you have said, we have implemented case management systems as well in Uganda, in Zimbabwe, in Eswatini, and many other countries around the world. But that's just to mention a few in Africa, since we are talking about this topic. And so what we do, as Justice Eme has said, is that we conceptualize systems together with the beneficiaries, which is now the justice sector. And we understand their processes, because they're different. There are civil processes and criminal processes. There are civil systems and common law systems. And we need to understand that. And I want to encourage all tech people that are here that tech is not enough. We need to understand the laws as well in order to implement impactful systems. And also, building on what Eme has said, we understand that ICMS, although it has brought a lot of benefits in Rwanda, and I'm actually happy to inform you that just this month, ICMS has won another award for innovation in access to justice, on top of the 3 awards that it already has. And so that to us is a big step for Rwanda. Not to mention other accreditations like the rule of law, that we are the first in sub-Saharan Africa in civil justice and the second in criminal justice. And all of these, we do not account it entirely to ICMS, obviously, but as Aimé has been saying, it improves efficiency. It improves, it removes the lagging and the processes that would take years. I was discussing with one of the students in one of African countries, and they were saying, in this country, a case can be initiated and your grandchildren will come and find the case and still, so these are all the effects of working as aliens out of technology. So that is in a nutshell what we have been doing around Africa, and we hope to partner with more African countries and bring these innovations in many more countries, because this is the justice that we deserve as Africans.
Thank you so much. I think you remind me of one thing the Attorney General said about technology being for the good of society and access to justice for society, and that's the person we need to think of at the end of the day. But I'd also highlight one of the publications that the ELT network specify, in which they said that legal tech in Africa is currently developing under two pretexts, being access for justice for low-income customers and legal operations tech design for firms to use and to be able to offer more efficient and cost-saving services. And I think in what you said, you guys are covering both of that, as well as Hens Technologies as well. But let me get to my president, Mr. Moise. As the president of the Rwanda Bar Association, how do you perceive the role of technology in improving efficiency and provision of legal services? And I think they've talked a lot about the side of courts. What about in the side of the law firms and operation of lawyers? Where do you see technology playing a part in improving efficiency for us?
All right, thank you very much. First of all, I have to say the use of technology is no longer an option. It's progressively becoming something that is mandatory. Whether you're in law, whether you're in practice of accounting, whether you're whatever kind of profession you're involved in, the use of technology is progressively becoming what I can call mandatory in a way. And today, when the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, when he was speaking, it was very specific. He said something very important that I've also noticed. Lawyers, in their own way of living and behaving and acting, they are very much of conservative people. And change is not something that comes very easily with them in their practice, in their lives, and everything. The reason I'm saying this is very simple. When the use of the integrated electronic case management system started, NICE did not mention the kind of challenges we were facing. But today, as we speak, when ICMS has an issue for something like 5 minutes and it's off, you cannot imagine the kind of conversation that comes out on the group WhatsApps of lawyers. Their life is pretty much like going off as well. But initially, when the system was introduced, everyone started asking the questions, but is this really in conformity with the law? Are these people even thinking about the local citizen that cannot access this technology infrastructure and who cannot be able to fit into the use of this ICMS? Do we have infrastructure in the rural area where people are not going to get the availability of internet? We are talking about internet, but they don't even have laptops. They don't even have gadgets that can allow them to log into the system. So those are the questions that lawyers were asking by then. None of them was trying to be innovative in as much as we can, so that we make necessary adjustments that we're going to benefit our practice going forward. That's the reason why the lawyers in the room, I want to ask you one thing. Make sure that whenever such a new innovation and challenges are coming up, transform them into opportunities. Be the first to learn the tools, and then make sure that the innovations and tech opportunities that are coming, you're using them to actually even transform and innovate and try to go with it, and see how it can make easier for you as you practice law, rather than being stuck and thinking that these are challenges that are not going to be responded to, and even get to a point where you start there are even some that will even take actions and try to challenge each and every innovation that is coming, because in their way of training and how their background, they are not trained to think out of what they learned at the law school. That is a major kind of observation that I've made when we were getting into the use of IECMS. So, in as far as practice is concerned, apart from the use of the integrated electronic case management, I'm coming back to the question that Daniel asked. The reality is, because of the use of IECMS, law firms and lawyers have now tested the better way and the benefit of using technology. Why am I saying this? Today, if you're a lawyer in Rwanda, you should not have such a room where you're going to be storing your files, because I have them on my phone here. I can work on my files when I'm in London. If I have internet wherever I am, I can work on my files. The next upgrade of the IECMS is going to allow us to attend court sessions online, and I'll be representing Rusizi citizens when I'm sitting in my law firm. Can you imagine the kind of cost implication that has? Can you imagine the kind of risk we are mitigating? Because if you're going to be on the road for 6 hours going to Rusizi and back, that's 12 hours. In terms of costs, in terms of risk, because when you're driving on the road, maybe someone can even hit you. You can have a road accident. So think about all those surrounding aspects that goes with what you're doing, and try to innovate as you work. It will help you very much. The question that Daniel asked to do with the systems that are used by the law firms, I have to confess that we've not really made the necessary steps that are going to help us go into the use of systems that allows law firms to track, like for instance what their employees are doing, but also to even look into the efficiency of how they can innovate in as far as, like for instance, having like templates online where you don't have to go through again the redrafting and so on and so on. I don't think law firms have really gotten to that point. The law firms I know that have made necessary progress, they have, like for instance, the systems that they are using in their finance, which is something good. But then it needs also to get to a level where you're also getting into the real practice of law. That is not necessarily only to do with the finance. On the side of Rwanda Bar Association, we are also thinking about quite a good number of innovations in as far as the use of technology to manage the lawyers. But of course, there are still some challenges. the use of tech with the law practitioners, it has a cost that is not that very friendly. Nice will not be that good with me. Building the infrastructure requires some level of investment, but which, in my understanding and in my view, is really very extremely relevant. And going forward, that's what we are about to embark on, because we used to have a bar association of 37 lawyers. We are now 1,648. So managing these people, providing service to them, following up their discipline, following up each and everything that has to do with how we can help them even develop their business, especially for young lawyers and some that are in the room, it will require that we have an understanding that is going to do with the use of technology. That is what is going to help us manage them. Of course, we have things that we are doing which are not really at a level where we want it. The use of their mailing lists, sending them Google Sheets when we want, like for instance, for them to register for events. There is a survey that was of recent conducted for women lawyers, because on Friday we are celebrating the International Women's Lawyers. We wanted to understand, like for instance, what are the challenges that they are facing. But because there are 500 people, we're not going to write up questionnaire, print them, which is not maybe something that is not environmental friendly. Take them to their law firms, have them written, have them collected again. No, we've sent a Google Sheet, which I actually even happened to fill, even though I was not a woman. But I had some ideas. I was coming from work. When I got home, I was like, this email was sent. I didn't feel it. It was pretty much like around 10 p.m. in the night. So you can imagine a lawyer that have been working is also capable of giving us data when he or she gets home, because of the use of technology. And the only simple thing of having internet allows you to move very fast. So let's embrace this use of technology with a lot of flexibility. It's taking us somewhere that is better than where we used to be. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think as the president, you get some benefits. You can answer women's questionnaires. You can. One of the things you mentioned about lawyers, still struggling to catch on, leads me to you, Aaron, just for us and for our benefit, to elaborate on practical examples of some of the legal automation in the legal sector, and how you guys at Hens Technologies are transforming the knowledge economy and reimagining the way legal services are accessed. And if you will, he talked about cost and things like this. How practical are these things for law firms in Rwanda, in Nigeria, and because sometimes these things are amazing, but we look at the cost and you look at your turnover, and yeah.
Yeah, thank you for that question, and thank you to the panel for, I think, elaborating a lot on the context. I think that we work in here in Rwanda, and the law and how people are adapting to technology. So at Hens, we're kind of looking primarily at a different market. Our market is primarily, until now, we're still early. We've been around for 4 years, but our primary market has been companies in the West, in the US, in Europe, and so forth. And we've been building technology primarily for in-house counsel, in-house lawyers, not necessarily for lawyers working at law firms themselves. And so we've, none of us on our team are lawyers, and so to the point that was mentioned earlier, that we're technologists, we're software developers, and so what we've had to do is we've had to spend time sitting down with in-house counsel, understanding their challenges, understanding their problems, understanding where automation, data, predictive technology, machine learning, where all of this could be applied, and then adapting technology, adapting the solutions that we have in a way that's, you know, compliant with data security laws, in a way that's compliant with, you know, as we talked about, lawyers that can potentially be a bit more conservative in how they look at technology. But, you know, ultimately what we found is that people are open if it fits their problems and their challenges and their needs. It's not that people say no to technology. It's not that people are saying I don't want to use it. It's how does this practically help me? Because I have my workflows, I have my ways of operating, I have my ways of doing things, and if it will help me, then I'm open to it. But if I have to change and do things very differently, then why would I do things differently? And so, you know, we've built a variety of solutions for some of these in-house counsel, primarily around things like external counsel management. So how do they select which external counsel they work with? And, you know, for some of the companies we work with, we talked about 1,600 lawyers in Rwanda. Some of these companies that we work with have 1,600 lawyers to pick from, you know, within America that they work with on an annual basis. And so how do they pick who is the right counsel that they should be working with? Well, they have a lot of data to help to use, but they don't use that data because it's stored in different file systems, it's stored in different billing systems, it's stored in different things. So we help integrate all of that different data that's out there and then connect it back to enable them to have a single look at, here is my lawyer, here is how well they performed in the past, here is how much they cost, here is what their expertise is and how they compare against other counsel that I could potentially work with. We've kind of expanded from there into things around how they actually engage with external counsel, so how they manage matters. We talked about case management for when it gets to courts and things, but a lot of matters don't actually reach court, and so there are a lot of other matters that in-house counsel have to deal with, both internally, so sometimes it's just between the business and in-house counsel, but sometimes it goes to external counsel, and so there's various matter management pieces there. We've looked at things like legal front door, so when a business user comes in and says, hey, I want to, you know, make this request, I want to sign this deal, I want to do something, how can they get the right information quickly so that, you know, they can be compliant with internal policies, so that they can get the request handled according to its level of urgency. So, you know, as an in-house lawyer, there are a lot of things to kind of think about, and over time we've been learning and understanding what are the challenges that they face, engaging with external counsel, engaging with business, and what we found is that there's a lot of space for it, and as AI has come in, as you know, large language models have come in, there's a lot of space for improving and creating efficiency in how they engage, because these are very, very, very busy people, right? And so, you know, even within these large firms that have maybe a few hundred lawyers working within them, they still are dealing with requests from 10,000, 50,000 people within the entire company, and so they're very busy, and that presents a huge challenge. And so they need to be thinking about the most important requests. They need to be thinking about the strategic value. And so I think there's a big transition that we've seen where people are asking, hey, how do I automate the things that I'm not adding value in? I'm not adding value in doing data entry. I'm not adding value in you know, making sure that the data is correct and doing billing and doing these kind of things. I'm adding value by using my brain, by thinking about difficult legal concepts. And so we want to enable lawyers to be thinking about it from that angle. And so to come back to what we were talking earlier about Rwanda and where technology is going, especially in the legal sector, you know, just from hearing you all, you know, and I've never had actually as much exposure, even just as much as this panel, about learning about the challenges of the technology here. What I would say is, where are the opportunities to leapfrog, to jump ahead and not do the same things that have happened in the West, right? We heard earlier in the panel about how the West and Africa are different, and so what I would ask is, how can here in Rwanda be a launching pad for technologies where people say, okay, what if, instead of saying let's digitize things, but the ultimate result of digitization is that you need to hire more legal assistants or people to do data entry. What if you could jump straight to solving the problems that are important? Because we said 1,600 lawyers in the country, and then a population in Rwanda of 13 million, 15 million people, right? Roughly. So what we're saying is one lawyer for every 10,000 people. I'm a mathematician, so I think in that way, right? And which lawyer can handle 10,000 people here? Even the best lawyers here, I'm sure that's a huge, huge challenge. And so the question becomes, where does AI, where does this technology come in to say, how can we actually help and support people to get all of that access? So yeah, thanks.
Thank you very much, Aaron. Unfortunately, due to time, I'm just going to ask all of you, maybe since you have the mic, we can then just come back from you. What are your final thoughts in terms of what we've been talking about today, in terms of legal design and tech and promoting efficiency in legal services? What's the thought you'd want to leave with the lawyers and the tech people in this room as we head out?
Thanks. I think there's a lot here, but I'd say the big thing for me, the big takeaways would be, one, that there needs to be a lot more collaboration in how people engage with these problems. So we need to have lawyers talking to technologists, and different types of lawyers, people working in different sectors, the government, outside counsel, in-house counsel, people connecting and solving these problems. We mentioned incubation and co-innovation. One of the things that we've benefited from at HENS is that we've managed to co-innovate solutions with some of our partners, with some of these large companies. And so, there's lots of room to co-innovate solutions, and we think that ultimately, the more co-innovation can happen, the better. I think secondly, there's this balance between risk-taking versus conservatism, as it was highlighted earlier. And so I think it's important to think about how law and technology can work together in the way that, when you have that really strong foundation of legal risk management, that actually allows you to build technology faster. And when you have technology that's improving quickly, that actually allows, better risk management for more people, for more organizations, for more businesses, that can then enable faster development in the country, in the continent that we kind of live in. So a lot of it comes down to that collaboration, and I think, we're all here in this room to make that happen. So let's talk, let's connect, and let's start building some more solutions in that space. Thank you.
Thank you. As I said, I'm a teacher, so I'll start with a question. Why are you still conservative? In 2024, why do we still sit here and say that lawyers are conservative? And in my experience, I have noticed that people say they are conservative as a way of running away from what they don't understand. And we are lucky that in this room we have tech and we have lawyers. Let's talk to each other. Tech people are afraid of law because they don't know it. Lawyers are afraid of tech because they don't understand it. And now we are here. Let's talk. Let's develop policies that are going to advance Africa. Let's collaborate and develop systems that are going to help us leapfrog. We were talking about AI. I had a story of a man that went in a bus and carried his bag on his head. We have AI to assist us in different things, to do research, to even do analysis. But we lawyers still want to carry our bag full of books and read through 1 million of books. When AI could help us read through all the laws in the world, give us what we need, and then we only concentrate on where we add value, as my colleague was saying. So I have very many questions in this room. I wish I had more time.
I don't know how much more I can take.
But in a nutshell, I want to say that we also need to give ourselves credit. We have come a long way. We have done a lot of things. The next generation will be happy we were here, but we still have a lot to do, and we can do it. So I just want to challenge every one of you, where you are, make a difference, and make sure the next generation has an advanced step that they can start on. They don't start from where our grandparents were. And lastly, let us strive, as I said before, for the justice that we deserve. We don't deserve justice that goes through generations. No, we deserve justice that is accessible. We deserve justice that is cost-friendly. We deserve justice that is quick. Thank you.
Thank you very much. As a matter of fact, I will respond to your question. The truth of the matter is, the solution you provided when you created the integrated case electronic case management has broken that. It has lowered that level of being conservative. Because today, if you're a practicing lawyer in Rwanda, I mean, I know some that are in corporate that do not go to court, but the use of IECMS is no longer an option. You can't file a case in court without using IECMS. So it gets to a point where you don't have much of a choice. That's where the world is taking us. So lawyers in the room, I've seen that most of you guys are young. I want to challenge you. Most of the lawyers that have been in practice for 20 years, most of them do not know how to use these tools. Can you add value to the law firms where you're going and give them solutions so that they can see that you joining the older generation and working together, you're also adding value, because you can easily navigate the use of technology, and it allows you also to add value to the firms for which you're working, and you can even teach them. Yeah. Let them mentor you in as far as law practice is concerned, but also consider bringing the innovation of matching the technology knowledge that you have with the practice of law. And then it allows things to work in a smooth way. So make sure that you get the necessary skills to do with the use of technology, which is going to help you fit into the setup of practice. Of course, there is that level of in the legal practice, like in any other area, there is always this conflict of generation. That the old ones have their own world, and they were happy with carrying with the bags with a lot of files. But nowadays, I mean, you have an iPad and you can do everything, and let's move to that kind of approach, and I believe the future is bright. We just need to make necessary adjustments. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. I think there is a consensus among lawyers that their primary role is to promote and maintain the rule of law, a society governed by the law where principles of justice are predictable to the citizens. I think we understand that, and the use of technology in Rwanda has really raised the standards of the rule of law in Rwanda. That's why we were getting these awards, and that's why for, I think, the last 4 years, Rwanda was ranked the best performer in Africa, Sub-Saharan Africa, in promoting and maintaining the rule of law. So we have traveled a long. I remember when I joined the Supreme Court a decade ago, I had one of my senior justices in the Supreme Court. We all had computers and the printers in our offices, but he would start writing his judgment with handwriting. And I would ask him, because I was coming from the academy, I just came, but Justice, why don't you go just on the keyboard and start writing your judgment? And he told me, you know, psychologically, I think I must out better when it crosses the fingers. So, having spent 10 years in the judiciary, I think I learned the lesson. That's why I came with my notes myself. But I think if we understand that we need a country governed by the rule of law, then we should take technology as a tool that would help us to reach this. Yesterday I attended the opening ceremony of our Digital Governance Conference, which is taking place in the KCC. But all the questions were lawyers. There were no lawyers there.
You should have come here.
So we were two lawyers there, and in the break time, and I met a lady from Ghana, an expert in agriculture, and I introduced myself as being a lawyer, and they said, "Oh, do you see any other lawyer here?" I said, myself, I started saying, "Oh, maybe I'm not in my place here." Yeah, we find that we are not yet. First, we don't yet understand that the rule of law is an element of good governance. That's the starting point. It is an element of good governance. It is one of the standards for the performance of governance. Second, to implement all these principles of justice, to implement them better: independence, access to justice, reducing corruption, impartiality, the speed. We need technology. So we don't have a new way we can deal with these constitutional principles without relying on technology. Thirdly, and now coming to the audience, which is here, which I see it is, I think the President of the Bar has mentioned it is a young mind. So we should understand that the technology we are using today is not necessarily the one we'll be using tomorrow. Because tomorrow we'll be using artificial intelligence. Today we're speaking about ISMS, but tomorrow we'll be speaking about artificial intelligence. I think a month ago I saw a judge in Brazil who has given a case, and he gave the case to a ChatGPT. That's what and he gave the case to this guy called the ChatGPT. And so, but this it came out of the media because this technology tool confused names of the parties. So, and that's how the president of the court learned that the judge did not write the judgment. But this can inform you. If we take Mr. the President of the Bar Association in his law firm, and maybe he's flanked with 2-3 young lawyers who have to do all the writing things, summarizing and whatever. So tomorrow he might be replaced by this tool, right? Which I don't know how to pronounce properly. So so it is important you look at this. How can you really face the challenges and transform them in opportunities, as he was saying. One of the leading law firm, I think, in the world, Allen and Overy, its lawyers the third of its lawyers are already using these tools. So in 2025, 2028, we will no longer be speaking about ISMS. Technology challenges will be something else. So, and it is for the young lawyers to update themselves, and always remember that by upgrading your knowledge, upgrading your skills, you are also promoting good governance, and you are incidentally protecting your country. And to be Pan-African is like nice. You're also protecting your continent. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I now understand why they call it written judgments. At least in And thank you. I look forward to 2028. Maybe we shall have Judge GPT or something to help. But thank you all. It was really a pleasure for me to host this panel, and it was really a pleasure for me to have all of you on the panel. Thank you again to ALT for this, and have a good day.